Okay, the call to order the July 31st, 2023 Board of Directors meeting for the Kitsap Public Facilities District. And do we have anyone for public comment?
Hang on just a second, let me check the chat. I know we have a couple of guests, so hang on. All right, we have Hank Anderson and Joe Liebescher, both. You're both allowed to speak. So Hank, if you want to start first, if you have any comment.
No, I have no comments and no questions for this evening's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Hank. Mr. Liebescher, any comment?
Not at this time.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Liebescher. Appreciate it. Mr. Anderson, thank you for being here.
Okay, if we have no comments, we'll move on to item 3, which is approval of the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor of approval of the consent agenda?
Aye.
Aye.
So the consent agenda has been approved. Item 4, we have no facility project. We'll move down to the general business, which would be the event fund application. Are they prepared to go?
Correct, they are, Mr. Chairman. Hang on just one second.
Okay.
Okay, Ryan, if you want to introduce yourself and just one second here. If you want to unmute yourself and also your camera, go right ahead.
Are you able to hear me?
Sure are, Ryan. Go right ahead.
Okay. So we are applying for the grant for our event that we're running here in December of this year, which is a sanctioned USA powerlifting meet. It's something that we have been running for the past 7 years now. And we have a 2-day event, which will be Saturday and Sunday, with the athletes coming into town on Friday. This event is typically draws 500 people per day. And we've hosted it at our facility the past 7 years, and we have actually applied to have it at the Kitsap Pavilion. We have not received an approval for that yet. Our secondary backup option would be to then host it at our facility again, which is in Bremerton. So it's a nationwide event. It's a qualifier for nationals and worlds for the Powerlifting Federation. So we have competitors from all over the country that come in to compete in this. And then we also have a support staff of about 50 volunteers that will be coming to the event as well. Am I able to scroll on the application portion here?
Yeah, let me do that for you.
Okay. Okay. So on the application itself, I had put in for $3,000 budget, which for that would be going through essentially just our marketing costs for flyers, banners, social media advertisement through Facebook, Instagram, as well as our website itself. While the people are in attendance here, they're averaging about $500 for our out-of-town visitors. So as far as the economic impact to this area itself, I have that projected at $240,000. And like I said, that's each athlete will come in and they will be here a minimum of one night, potentially 2 nights if they're competing with a team, which a lot of these athletes are. As far as the sources of other support for the activity itself, we have Slippery Pig, which is in Paulsbo, which is already partnered with us, Cafe Perfetto, which is in Bremerton, Tankworks Armory, which is in Bremerton, Core Vision Training, USA Powerlifting, which is nationwide entity, Fingers Duke, Mise en Place, Evergreen Auto Spa, and then also we will be using Graphic Reflections as well. The goal with this is to increase our marketing reach to bring in more people from outside the area, bring greater attendance to this area. We have grown the event each year leading up until COVID, which we had to then suspend operation of the competition for a couple years. And now this past year, we had surpassed our previous pre-COVID attendance numbers. So we're looking to surpass that this year, and with this grant, continue to build upon the attendance each year, making the event larger and larger, and continuing this for the foreseeable future. Let me see. Are we able to move to the next one, please? So on here, the event budget that we have broken down, the allocated cost, like I mentioned, of the portion that we're applying for would go towards marketing material, and then the event rental, the event sanctioning, the t-shirts, the equipment, transportation, judging staff, food and accommodations that would all be needed to run the event itself. My facility would be covering those costs if held at the event, and then in the event we have it at the pavilion, we do have sponsors that will be covering the venue rental cost. So let's see here, which other... I do believe that I have touched on all of the points that are requested on here, and I guess I'll open it up to any questions that anybody has. If there's anything about the event that you're curious about or hasn't been touched on that you wanted more information about.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Does the board have any questions?
What are the dates?
It is December 18th and 19th. I believe. I got to double check here. We have several other events that are happening in between then, but I believe that is, sorry here. Eighth and 9th. I apologize.
Okay, thank you.
You've said you've put into the pavilion for rental. You just haven't heard back yet?
Correct. We're just waiting on the approval process for that. It's a extremely lengthy document to go through. So it was submitted the beginning of July, and we are still waiting on an answer for that.
I just have to throw in a personal stuff. One of my children is a power lifter. So
Okay.
I've seen him fly from Wisconsin to San Antonio to compete. So it's a pretty amazing setup.
Is there a reason why you wouldn't get approval? I find that timeline to be rather lengthy.
Yeah, the only thing that I would think of would be just the nature of the event, and if the insurance that we've provided is satisfactory to their standards, which the policy limit is right in line with what they asked for. And then the only other thing that I would see in there is if there's additional information that they're requesting. But it is, like I said, it's an extremely lengthy process of of the application. So it's fairly detailed. I'm not sure what else they would really need from us. But as far as everything else goes, it's all been taken care of. So really hoping to get it into that venue because it would allow us to put on a pretty good show there.
Ryan, let me first start by saying thank you for your investment in our community, not only with your small business, but also putting on an event like this. I too, like Aaron, have a connection to lifting, and think it's a great thing that you're doing. So good job there. I did just have some questions around the marketing piece that we're looking to do. It says on here, social media ads, banners, flyers, and signs. What can you tell me more about how your marketing dollars from the KPFD would be used?
So in the past, the banners that we have made were around $800 each. And that was through Fingers Duke, which I believe actually sub that out to Graphic Reflections. We do put out about 200 flyers, which we mail to gyms in Idaho, Montana, Oregon, California, and across Washington, as well as we distribute locally. And that's a couple $100 in and of itself. The remaining portion, the signage, we put up poster-sized signage at all the participating local businesses, which that is another few $100s. And then the rest of the marketing budget goes towards ads through Facebook, Instagram, and banner ads.
Excellent. Thank you. My last question is, if you're not approved through the county at the fairgrounds, what is your backup location?
So the backup location is our facility off of Perry Avenue, which we've run it there previously. It's just under 11,000 square feet, so it's actually bigger than the space that we're applying for at the pavilion. We already have all the equipment there, so it's a lot less setup for us. And the facility is more than large enough to accommodate the event. I just wanted to have something off-site, make it a little bit more exciting, and put something together that has the potential to grow into larger spaces within the pavilion.
Thank you, Ryan. And I might just add a last comment. Make sure you invite the friends over at Base Fitness in Tacoma, as that was a former client and where I lived.
Okay.
Hi, this is Pat Hatchell. So when would you plan on starting the marketing?
We've already started marketing ourselves through USPA, through several other powerlifting forums, as well as our Facebook and Instagram. If we are to receive the funding, we would basically boost existing and then get all of our print ads and things like that set up over the next week and then start getting all that stuff distributed.
Because I don't believe we can support it unless you do it at one of our regional centers, which would only be the pavilion. Is that correct?
If they do it at the pavilion, that is one of our previous projects.
So I believe they'd have to have a firm commitment from the pavilion before we could start our process if it was approved.
Well, and typically what happens is that we reimburse after the event. So he would submit receipts, and then if we approve a total of $3,000, I reimburse him up to the cost of $3,000.
Right, but if it doesn't happen at the pavilion, then I don't think we would be able to reimburse that.
Quite honestly, Mr. Chairman, I'd have to look into that.
Yeah, we can only support it if it's at one of the regional projects that we funded.
Okay.
So if they had to go to their backup location, we wouldn't be able to fund that.
Okay. I'll take a look at it. I'll also talk with our legal counsel about that too. I want to make sure I understand the definition of the event fund as to where it can happen, and because that could also have an effect on others that want to apply for doing other events that are not within one of our regional event centers that we funded in the past.
I can't remember anywhere funded that haven't been at our regional event center.
No, I'm talking about for the future.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's pretty clear in there if I remember.
Says on the top of our KPFD event fund, right, that it literally says to expand recreation options and stimulate economic benefit to the community by assisting local organizations host regional sports tournaments and special events at the facilities built or renovated with KPFD managed funds. So with that being said, I may make a motion, Mr. Chair, that we approve this pending approval from the county.
I'll second it.
I just want to make sure that there's no misunderstanding that you don't get the pavilion, and if you spend the money before that, what could happen?
Correct.
Does that make sense?
No, it,
Yeah.
it certainly does to me, Mr. Chairman. The other thing, too, is that I can certainly help Ryan with the contacts at the county as far as seeing what we can do to get it approved. So,
Okay.
you know, I can, in my previous capacity, I worked with the county very closely and specifically doing events at the pavilion. So I'll certainly do what I can to help that along as
Okay.
well.
I mean, it seems like a very worthwhile project.
Yeah,
I
and
agree
we set up the event fund, the purpose was to promote usage of the projects that we had done and to encourage people to go there and use them for these special events.
Yeah, it certainly makes sense to me. I mean, you're promoting the community, but you're also promoting those event centers and things that we have funded to bring people to the region. So makes sense to me.
Okay.
I also,
Second?
seeing as it's, in a moment I will, that's actually a good point. December at the pavilions. That's my only concern. If they haven't approved it now, I'm concerned whether they're already fully booked for that one weekend in December. So they should at least be able to tell you, Ryan, quickly whether there's an opening availability on that. So, and yes,
They did confirm that there was an opening at the building, but they did not confirm whether or not that we had been guaranteed approval for the space.
Okay, well, it sounds like maybe Russ can help you with that.
Yeah,
And I will go ahead and second.
Okay. Do we have any discussion? No? All right, all in favor of awarding $3,000 of the event fund for this project?
Aye.
Okay, so it does pass, and we'll have to coordinate with Executive Director Sheplet on how to make the county go a little bit faster, perhaps.
certainly. Ryan, I'll circle back with you. I know the new Parks and Rec Director with the county. I'm working with him on another project, so let me communicate with him as well. But yeah, I'll be more than happy to circle back with you and do what we can to assist.
Okay, perfect.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
The next item is the Bainbridge Island letter of support. Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, let me go back up to the first page. So City of Bainbridge Island sent a letter to the KPFD. It's been about 2 weeks ago now, and they were expressing their support of the Japanese American Exclusion Memorial Association and the new visitor center that is being built there. They specifically reached out to us to see if the PFD would be willing to fund the running the water service to the new visitor center. And without giving a specific amount, just the city council saying they backed it, they support it, and so forth. So we're crafting a response back to that letter right now, working with our legal counsel and working with our executive committee to craft the proper response back to that. So I just wanted to make a note of it and let the public know that the city of Bainbridge had reached out to us, telling us they lent their support to it and asking that the PFD lend financial support to it as well.
Sounds like, though, it doesn't qualify for our funding.
Correct, and it's also, it's like any other project, the board would have to agree that they're going to open up and allow for other projects to apply for funding. And as we know right now, the funding that we have slated until 2041, when we continue to collect sales tax rebates up until that point, is already committed. So we'll have to wait and see if available funds are going to be there, and not only that, but are we going to be open up to others? So there's a lot of stipulations that would have to be met. Obviously, they would have to meet the criteria to be considered an event center, and go through all the formal process for that. So, but I'm crafting a letter that speaks to that, everything that I just spoke about, back to the City of Bainbridge. Once the letter has been approved by our legal counsel, by the executive committee, I'll send it out to the board for one final look. If the board has got any other suggestions or any edits they'd like to make, then we can do that, and then we'll go ahead and mail it on to them.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. And then I don't have it on the agenda, but I did want to talk just briefly, some encouraging news. We just received it late on Friday, but our sales tax rebate numbers for the month of May, $203,000, which is nearly 5% greater than this time last year. So that's encouraging. So we had a dip the 2 previous months, but we've come back up again. So hopefully that will continue to trend that way. It's hard to tell with inflation and so forth, but it was encouraging. The month of May was higher than certainly was projected or anticipated.
That is very good news. So if we don't have anything else, then the meeting is adjourned.
All right. Thank you all. Director Bullock, thanks for joining in by Zoom. Brian, thanks for joining.
Thank you.